Hello everybody, House Shrink here with another live streaming for those of you who are interested in learning mind-body psychology and learning how to improve your life, your relationships, your health, longevity. And today's topic I'll be mentioning in a few minutes because I want to wait for people to show up. It's been amazing, it's been really organic. Every time that I give these presentations, there's several thousand people that show up. At the end of the presentation, it tells me how many people actually viewed the video, and it's several thousand each time, so it's really very good, and so I appreciate that. So as people start coming in, I'll be talking about the topic. And hello, Samantha, how are you? Samantha's going to be the moderator, and as soon as people start showing up, and they do it just like an explosion of people, then I'll be talking some more about what the topic is about and what the kind of things that you can expect here. Oh, there we go. The stream just started. All right, hello, House Shrink here. And today I'm going to be talking about a very, very special subject that you're not going to hear anywhere. You're not going to hear anywhere because specifically based on my work. What I'm asking you to do is to actually go to my page and follow my work. And on my page, you will find information about my 2 best-selling books. You will find the link to my website so you can see articles and workshops that I do, mentoring, consultation, it'll all be there. So just go to the page, follow it, and all the information will be there. Also, I have a new feature now, Q&A. You can go to the page and it says Q&A. So if there's a question that wasn't answered completely for you, or that I didn't have a chance to answer it, you can go there and ask the question. And it's interesting because then I can do a little video answering the question for you. So it's been up already. So it's a Q&A, just a Q&A. Press that and ask your question, and then I will be able to do I'll try to answer them, okay? All right, so the topic for today, it's called the holograms of archetypal wounds. That sounds really very scientific and esoteric, but it's not. You'll see, as you know, when you come to my presentations, that I try to make very complex things simple and clear, and especially give you tools. So here's the idea. A hologram, as you know, is something that it's a light source, and when you see a hologram, for example, you will see all parts of the hologram. And each part of the hologram has the complete image. So if you cut a hologram into a little piece, it'll still have the image. If you cut a picture, you'll only see the part of the picture that you cut. So that's what a hologram is all about. And the hologram idea is something that is an extension of you. It's like a bioinformational field of you. And I'll give you an example. There's something called, in medicine and psychology, it's called the phantom limb. And the phantom limb has to do when, for example, somebody loses an arm and the arm is gone. There shouldn't be any feeling there anymore because there's nothing. But since the body does a hologram of the total body, people can feel pain in that side of where there's a phantom limb. They can feel itching. They can feel sensations even though the limb is not there anymore. So that's really the strongest evidence to tell you that we're holographic. Our biology is holographic, and it extends beyond our body. So based on that, I'm going to be talking about the archetypal wounds. That's something that I talk about in my books, in the Mind-Body Code and the Mind-Body Self. And archetypal wounds are the way that you're hurt or you're wounded by your culture, or by other people that sometimes have more power than you, or even people that love you. They hurt you that way. And what I found in all of the cultures that I studied, all over, Africa, South America, North America, Europe, Asia, all over, is that there are only 3 ways, at least that I know of, that you can be wounded, that you can be hurt emotionally, which then can turn into physical kinds of problems. And that is, can you hold on a second? Hold on, I'll be right back. Hello. Hi, how are you?
Good. Franklin Police, we heard.
Oh, no, it's 92 9205.
9205?
Yeah.
Oh, this one?
Yeah, okay. Thank you. Okay, I'm back. No problems. I just had someone at the door that I had to take care of, and it was the wrong place. Anyway, so I was talking about the archetypal wounds, and there are only three ways that you can be hurt or emotionally hurt, and that is by abandonment, shame, or betrayal. Those are the three ways that that you can be hurt, and each of them has a really negative effect on your body. Abandonment is the most primitive. If you abandon a child, they die. So that's the most primitive. And the archetypal wounds are not just physical, but it's the also the you can be abandoned emotionally, you can be abandoned intellectually, you can be abandoned in different ways, physically. But the most important is the abandonment. That's the most primitive. After that comes shame. You could be shamed, but interesting, a child could not be shamed until they identify themselves in a mirror and they can say, that's me. They have to have an ego, they have to have an image. Before that, you can scare them, and you think you're shaming them, but you're just scaring them. So shaming is the next one, and shaming is a very powerful one because it causes inflammation of the body, and it causes many, many kinds of problems with your health. I will be talking about that some more. Anyway, so here's the idea. The most complex is betrayal. When someone betrays you, that's a terrible thing. And what happens is that I'll be talking about the hologram for each. And here's what's going to happen. You're going to find out why it's so difficult to get rid of people or forget people that have hurt you. Or why it's so difficult to feel that if you put limits on somebody, even a stranger, that you're going to hurt their feelings, even though you're hurting your own feelings. You'll know about that. You'll know about that, so pay attention. So anyway, someone says, you look like Bill Gates, and then somebody else said, more handsome than Bill Gates. I agree, but thank you very much. Okay, so getting back to the archetypal wounds, the initial, and when they happen early in life, it has quite an effect on your life and on your health. The abandonment is felt as cold. It has a cold temperature to it. And it actually constricts your vascular system. When someone abandons you, let's say you're in school, you're in kindergarten, and or your mommy or your daddy or whoever's going to pick you up is not there. And you see other kids who their parents have picked them up and you're all alone. You feel that sense of abandonment. You feel cold, and the emotional feeling is like a tremendous sense of isolation. The tremendous sense of isolation. Okay. Now, shame is hot. Shame is hot. And the feeling about shame is that it causes inflammation. And the inflammation is caused by someone feeling a tremendous amount of shame, a tremendous amount of embarrassment. They turn red, actually. And when they turn red, it's because the immune system and the nervous system is responding as if some kind of pathogen out there. So it's very important to see that. And the third is the betrayal, and betrayal is also excuse me a minute. That people are calling. I'm not sure what the. Hold on a second. No, it's not it's 0 5.
I don't know where that is. Where is that?
That's I think what happens there. You see it. I think it's on the other side because my, for example, my garage.
Where?
Right next to theirs.
Oh, okay.
So it's the one. It's not the same.
Cat corner?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. That's right. Yeah. But the problem is that when we become a speaker, we're taking and just making some. Thank you. Sorry. Okay, I'm back. Let me tell you, there's some issue going on here. Some people are calling. The police came over and they're looking for someone, and they asked me. Anyway, we'll be able to cut that out of the video when I show it tomorrow in its entirety. We'll have it tomorrow on YouTube. It'll be shown on YouTube, and go to my YouTube channel, and then just go ahead and follow the channel, which is Dr. Mario Martinez. Okay, so it's very important, Dr. Mario Martinez, and then follow here, because as it increases, I have a larger audience, and when we get to 10,000, I'll have all kinds of things that I can make available to you. We are your alibi. Thank you. In case they come over and say, "Hey, he's here. He's just been a nice guy." Okay, why do we procrastinate? Go to the procrastination video, and it'll tell you. So let's stay on subject here, on the archetypal wounds. So you have the 3 archetypal wounds, but they each have an antidote. But let's talk about the hologram. Here's what happens. We create a hologram. As I said with the earlier, I talked about the phantom limb. When somebody loses an arm, even though the arm's not there anymore, they have itching and it hurts, and because it's a hologram that the body created. Sometimes when people, for example, are very overweight, when they are morbidly obese and they lose a couple of 100 pounds, because they were obese, they had to go sideways through a door. And even though they lost the weight, they still go sideways because the hologram is still there. So what we're trying to do is we want to change the hologram. So anyway, what happens then is that you create a hologram. Let's say you've been abandoned. Okay, so if you've been abandoned by someone who loves you, and abandonment again could be emotional, it could be intellectual, it could be physical, and so you create a condition and a hologram that imposes that condition anytime you feel any possibility of abandonment. So this is why, let's say you're in a relationship and then that person abandons you, and you have such a difficult time breaking away from that person, even though that person hurt you. And who would want to be with somebody that's hurting you? Well, the reason is that, here's the reason. It's not that you're pathological. There's a biocognitive mind-body process. What happens is when someone causes a wound, they devalue you. Not even consciously, they devalue you, and they take your power away. You give them your power away without even knowing it. When they take your power away, immediately, then you feel that that person is more powerful than you, more valuable, not valuable in the sense of monetary value, but more valuable in the sense of power. So then you don't have the valuation, and that person hates you, doesn't like you anymore, they treat you badly, and you still are moaning and feeling the sense of loss. And the reason is that you haven't taken your power back. You have devalued yourself, and you have given power to someone else. So the idea is to get your power back by revaluing yourself, and that's what I'm going to be talking about. I go into deep detail with this in my books, and the Mind-Body Code and the Mind-Body Self, but here I'm going to be giving you some ideas on how to begin to work on it yourself. Yeah, you said even if you, especially if you've been abandoned as a child by a parent, yes, that's very, very difficult. It leaves you thinking that you're undeserving, because a child doesn't know the difference between a behavior and total self. So if a child is abandoned, the interpretation that they make is, I must not be a good person. Why would someone that loves me want to leave me? Because I'm not a good person. So self-esteem becomes a real issue. So remember, the idea, and again, if we just came in, I'm talking about the 3 archetypal wounds and the holograms that we create about them. Am I a doctor? Yes, I'm a clinical psychologist. My doctorate is in clinical psychology and neuropsychology, and I've done postdoctoral work in psychopharmacology. So that's why I call myself the house shrink here at TikTok. So power is money. No, power is not money. Power is whatever you give. If you give power to money, then money has power. Money does not corrupt. Money does not make you a good person. You take the symbol to the money and you make it good or you make it bad. So nothing corrupts. You do the empowering. What if it's a child's parent dies? Well, also, the death is a sense of abandonment. Although the person couldn't help dying, but it's an abandonment. So that has an abandonment kind of issues. That's right. Money only gives opportunities. Very true. Very good. Okay, but let's stay on top here. Let's stay on subject so that I can try to answer your questions. So then you have been abandoned, and you go into a relationship, and usually what happens is you speak abandonment fluently, and you get into relationships that have a high probability of you abandoning or being abandoned. So then that person abandons you, especially if you go to a narcissist. And then you don't know what to do because you have given your power away to that person because you think that that person has something that you don't have. Okay, so how do you keep your skin looking so good? All right, because I eat well and I work out. I don't eat pro-inflammatory foods like a lot of pastas. I stay away from wheat. I drink wine and I work out a lot. So that's how it is. But thank you for the wonderful compliment. Depression gets worse with age. No, it doesn't get worse with age. It gets worse depending on what you do about it. If you get help, then it's better. Okay, so here's the idea. How do you get your power back? Okay, how do you fix the hologram? And here's the point. Power is the ability that you have to make a decision and take that decision back. Action is giving someone permission to make a decision for you. And usually it happens with someone that you can trust or someone that knows more than you. So if you have a toothache, you give your action, you give your control to someone else. You say, you can control me and my mouth because you know more about my mouth than I do. All right, that's control. But you don't give your power away to anyone because the power means that you have the ability and the choice to be able to take that control back. So it's very important. So then what happens in these relationships when you break, when you have an archetypal wound, is that you have given your power rather than your control away. They're controlling you, but they're also, you're not able to get it back because you gave them the power. Okay, so how do you change that? I'm moving into very complex psychological processes here, but I'm going to make them very simple. Okay. Parapsychology, stay on task here. We're not talking parapsychology right now. Maybe some other time. All right, so you get it back by looking at what's lacking in self-esteem. What is lacking in self-esteem? There are 3 areas of self-esteem. You need to look at my video on self-esteem here, and also my video that is extended on the YouTube channel. As you know, you can only have videos for 60 seconds here, and anything that goes beyond 60 seconds like this will be published the next day on YouTube, and the channel is Dr. Mario Martinez. So you look at the 3, let's say you're in a relationship and you're abandoned and you don't know how to let go of that person emotionally. Look at what it is that is lacking within you. There's valuation self-esteem, there's competence self-esteem, and there's affiliation self-esteem. Look at each one. Valuation self-esteem has to do with how much value you give yourself to accept good fortune and good things happening in your life without sabotaging it, without getting sick, and without messing it up. That's valuation self-esteem. The second one is competence. How good are you at what you do? How good are you at what you do? Psychologist, father, mother, friend, partner. That's competence self-esteem. And the third, which is very important too, it is then the affiliation, which the quality of people that you associate with to celebrate your good times and also to have those people during bad times. So my YouTube name is Dr. Mario Martinez. And you can go there and follow here. I want to get to 10,000 followers here very quickly. We're close to 3,000, so we gotta move on, but it's happening very quickly. The likes are close to 10,000, but what matters is the follows. Have both, like and follow, but following is the most important of the three, of the other things that I'm talking about here. What if you have problems? Is it common to have problems in all areas? It happens, but you're going to find that you're going to have more problems in one than another. You're going to find that, for example, affiliation. You might be really good at liking yourself and being good to yourself. You may be very good at work, but you don't have any friends. Well, that's affiliation self-esteem. The most important is valuation, of course. So then, the problem is that you have to be able to regain your power. And you regain your power only if you feel worthy of taking your power back. So to take your power back without self-esteem, it's impossible. Because you don't feel worthy of the power that you have, or that you could have. So remember, there's power and there's control. Control you can give to people that you trust and people that know more about you in a subject. Like a psychotherapist, for example, or a doctor, or a teacher. But you always have to keep your power so you can take that control back when it's no longer serving you well. So it's very important to see that. So, and how do you go about doing that? That's what I'm talking about. You go to self-esteem, and here's how they go up or how they go down. The first part, the valuation self-esteem, it goes up, and pay attention to this, it goes up when you keep self-caring commitments. When you keep self-caring commitments, it goes up. When you break self-caring commitments, it goes down. A self-caring commitment could be as simple as, I'm going to take time for myself today. And somebody comes up, let's go do this. No, I'm going to take time for myself. You have to set limits with people when you do the self-caring commitments. If you break them, it goes down. Valuation goes down. All right, now, competence. It goes up when you're learning something new. A better teacher, a better parent, a better student, a better partner, a better carpenter, whatever it is, learning, it goes up. When you stagnate and you just rest on your laurels and you don't learn anything new, competence goes down. And the third is the affiliation. It goes up when you increase the quality of the people that you care for and the friends and family. It goes down when you go into quantity rather than quality. For example, a lot of social media is just quantity. People that you don't know, and there are a lot of narcissists here. There are a lot of good people, but there are a lot of narcissists. You have to really be aware that you want quality people. And what is a quality person? Someone who has enough self-esteem to respect you and respect themselves. So any questions specifically, and I'll keep going on as I go on. Remember, make sure that you follow my page here, my channel, and that you go to my website if you want to, biocognitive.com. It's all there. The link is there. So what is the subject? Sorry I'm late. No, you're welcome. Nothing to be sorry about. The subject is the 3 archetypal wounds and the holograms that we create around them. So let me give you an example of a stranger. You're talking to a stranger. Let's say somebody's trying to sell you something. They call you, these annoying people that call you, and you want to get rid of them, and they keep going, and you're afraid that you're going to hurt their feelings. Usually that comes from your own abandonment fears. Since you were abandoned and you know how bad it feels to be abandoned, then you say, if I hang up on this person, they're going to feel abandoned. Sometimes not even conscious. What you have to do is you have to be aware, okay, what are my limits? It has to do with limits. What are my limits? No, thank you. I'm not interested. Oh, but no, thank you. I'm not interested. I'm going to have to hang up. Boom, you hang up. You're not abandoning anyone. Someone is intruding in your space. So what you're doing is you're protecting your space. So you begin to reinterpret things. You begin to reinterpret things in a way that allows you to increase your self-esteem. But that's what happens when we've had one of the archetypal wounds. We are very afraid of doing it to other people because we know how it feels. But at the same time, then you're not really taking care of yourself. You don't have good boundaries. So now we're going to go to the antidote. Each of them has an antidote. I'm a people pleaser. Does that mean I am having problems with boundaries? Yep, that's right. Not problems, challenges. You're not setting enough limits for yourself that say, okay, this is as far as I go. This is as far as I go. And then give people permission to not like it. It's important. Assertiveness requires two steps. One, set the limit. And then second, give people permission to not like it. To be assertive doesn't mean you have to be aggressive or gross. You just say, no, this is as far as I go. No, I'm sorry, that's as far as I go, sorry. So anyway, the antidotes now. How do you get your power back? The antidotes are, number one, for abandonment. The antidote for abandonment is self-commitment. Commitment to self. Commitment consciousness. So if you've been abandoned, any time that you go into the abandonment fantasy, how can I commit myself to something today? Make my bed, have a glass of water, whatever. Commitment consciousness takes you out of the abandonment because it's incompatible. And then for the rest of the day, you make small commitments, and you see that it'll start clearing out because you're building self-esteem indirectly. The second one, shame. How does it work? What is the antidote for shame? Honor. Someone shames you and you start going into the shaming rumination. What is the honorable thing that I need to do for me? The antidotes are for you, not for anybody. How can I be honorable with myself today? How can I do honorable things today? And you go into honor consciousness, it begins to break away. And the third, which is the most difficult, is betrayal. When someone has betrayed you, they have tricked you, you have given them your love and they have played with your love or whatever it is. But the antidote for betrayal is loyalty to self, to being loyal to yourself, to make strong loyalty agreements with yourself and act loyal for the next few days so you can have loyalty consciousness. It has a psychoneurological effect. For example, shaming causes inflammation. Honor is anti-inflammatory. I've been able to show it in my practice, and we're going to be doing some work now and testing it in the lab. It's anti-inflammatory. I work with it with rheumatoid arthritis and fibromyalgia and other kinds of problems. So anyway, the idea is to understand that we create these extensions of self, these holograms, and we think that these people are giving us something, and they're not. What they're doing is they're taking something from us, we're giving it to them without sometimes knowing it, and then when we leave, we don't know how to take it back. And you take it back by what I said here, self-esteem, building self-esteem in the three areas, in the areas of valuation, competence, and affiliation, and then realizing that control is permission for someone to make a decision for you. Power is for you to have the capacity and the choice to take it back. So it's very important. What am I talking about? I'm talking about what I call archetypal wounds. How the tribes, how the cultures wound you, and we create holograms, extensions of that. And when we get into situations similar to that, we respond as if we're getting abandoned. So, for example, you have let's say a shaming. Let's use shaming this time, a shaming wound. And someone says to you, why are you wearing that shirt? And all of a sudden you begin to feel this embarrassment, and you don't know what's going on. What's happening is your hologram of the shame came in, and you're acting as if you're actually being shamed. That person maybe if they don't like your shirt, doesn't matter. But you go back to the history and you dump the shame into it, and you begin to act in a shaming way. And you turn red, and you have all these other things that happen with shame. And this is because what you're doing is the hologram of shame is imposed on the condition when someone just said, why are you wearing that shirt? You see? Shame is a huge problem. It happens a lot, but the antidote for shame is honor. You're not going to find this anywhere else. Honor is anti-inflammatory. And sometimes you'll talk to your doctor and say, is honor anti-inflammatory? They're going to say, oh, that's nonsense. That's because they don't know any psychoneuroimmunology. There are 40 years of research in psychoneuroimmunology, that's my specialty, that shows that the immune system and the brain have learned cultural symbols. And if I say to you now, you're so brilliant, you're so wonderful, you're special, endorphins come out, serotonin goes up, oxytocin goes up. But if I say, you're such a stupid idiot, you know nothing, you begin to feel stress hormones, and you begin to secrete molecules of inflammation like interleukins 2 and like tumor necrosis factor, because the immune system has a cultural interpretation from the brain. So anyway, any questions specific here? I know that we've had some clowns here that have been either muted or blocked, but so far it's been really good. You see, the clown archetype is someone who can't be serious because they have to constantly hide something about themselves. So they go in a place where there's some real conversation, they have to clown around or be funny. Look at me, look at me, look at me. I don't want to have to do with anything that has to do with thinking. I just want you to look at me and laugh and have a good time. That's the clown archetype. And what that does is it disempowers you, and it takes away your self-esteem. So it's very important to see that. So the clowns, stop being a clown and be serious, and you'll be welcome here. Just learn. But it's an option that you have to get out of being a clown or becoming a serious person with yourself. Giving my boyfriend space to figure out his PTSD, but I'm feeling ghosted. Okay, ghosting. Oh, I love to talk about ghosting. Ghosting, in my opinion, is a lack of courage, and it's a lack of backbone, and it's a disrespect to the person. You can't use PTSD or whatever you want for ghosting. Ghosting is a lack of respect for the other person, and usually because you don't respect yourself. PTSD is very serious and everything, but ghosting is unacceptable. So if your boyfriend is ghosting you, take a look and see, maybe you might want to have some couples therapy, but don't ever allow anybody to ghost you. I think it's a terrible act of lack of self-respect and projecting it out to other people, but it's a cowardly act. Should I wait for him or not? I can't tell you, because I don't know your situation, and it would be unethical. But what I would say is, if it keeps ghosting and ghosting, let it go. He calls it, hey, I assume that you not calling me meant that you weren't interested, so I'm moving on. Oh, I was busy. Okay, well, I was busy too. Because a lot of people, especially if they're narcissistic, they have a really good ability to make you feel guilty about something. They turn things around and make you feel like it's your fault, and you end up apologizing for someone who hurt you. Sometimes ghosting, no, it's never. Ghosting is not the safest way. Never. Ghosting, what you're doing is you're not setting limits, and the other person thinks that you're an amoeba. What would be a safe way for ghosting? Can you tell me? I'll tell you why it doesn't work. I live in ghosting every day. Anyway, ghosting is inappropriate, no matter what. Sometimes it's hard to say things to people, but there are ways of saying it without. Let's say somebody keeps calling you and you don't want to go out with them. All right? You don't want to go out with them. They keep calling you, trying to be nice. Oh, well, no, not tonight because I'm busy. Oh, are you going to be busy next Monday? Well, I don't know. Let me check. You're just prolonging the pain. A simple, compassionate way to do it is to say, hey, look, you're a very nice person, but I'm really not interested in a relationship with you. There's nothing wrong with you, just that I'm not interested. So I just want you to know that and understand that there's anything wrong with you. It's just that we're not hitting it off. Can we talk later? No, we can't. We just need to end this. That's it. And then give them permission to not like it, because if not, they'll manipulate you back into getting what they want. Online can be deceptive. Of course, it can be very deceptive online, because people put out their best mask on online, and they sound very understanding. I've had patients, I don't call them patients anymore, they're students, but when I was practicing in a hospital, I called them patients, who actually left their family for somebody, some way the hell out there, because they've been having a relationship online. And they left their partners and children, and they went on. It's a stupid thing to do, because it's not the same in person. And usually when you're having a relationship at a distance, the person is the best. I had a hard day. Oh, that's okay. What do you need? So you feel, oh, it's wonderful. Here's my Mr. Perfect or Miss Perfect. And it's not. Okay, so now we create our own perfect profile online, just like, yeah, you do. That's right. I'm extremely intelligent. I'm good looking. I'm this, I'm that, and then the real person starts coming out. with an abusive person, going no contact can be perceived as ghosting. But here's the thing. That's a good question. You first have to let people know how you feel. Say, look, I'm not going to allow you to abuse me. We're going to end this conversation, and I'm not going to be taking more of your calls. I'm going to block your calls. If you keep bothering, I'm going to get a restriction order. And so there are all kinds of things you can do. So you don't have to go. So you have to let people. Now, once you let somebody know that you don't want to be with them anymore, that you don't want to talk to them anymore, and they call you, that's not ghosting, because you let them know already. Hey, look, I'm done. My mom just passed away. I'm an only child. Well, that's a very difficult thing to deal with. And I'll tell you what you can do. Tonight, you have a wonderful dinner and you celebrate having known her. It's the best way to mourn a death of someone that you loved. Very important you do that. Celebrate having known that person. And you'll see how your body will begin to respond with empathy and love rather than that major loss. You're going to hurt, but the mourning process will not be so intense, and you'll actually be able to feel wonderful things. I did that when my mother passed away, when my dad passed away, so I don't just talk about it, I do it myself. Oh, hello from Ohio. Great. Glad you're here. Anybody from out of the country, make sure that you let me know so I can acknowledge you. We had people from all over the world yesterday. We had several thousand people, and at the end they tell us how many people were on. It's just incredible. So if you just joined, Denmark, wonderful. We have a lot of people from Denmark and Germany lately, and South Africa. If you just joined, Belgium, great. Singapore, South Africa. Oh yeah, I've been to South Africa. Karen from England. Hello. See, everybody from, it's very international. If you just joined, I'm talking about archetypal wounds and the holograms that they create, the extension of you that it creates. Alaska, Canada. Very nice, very nice. The more international, the better. Hello from Wisconsin. Great. Scotland. Ooh, Scotland. I love Scottish whiskey, Scotch. My favorite is Lagavulin. So you know that. Northern Ireland. Wonderful. How are you? I've been to Ireland. I haven't been to Northern Ireland, but I hear it's very nice too. Houston, Texas. Minnesota. Oh, Minnesota, California. Is this the topic of your books? I cover, yes. All the things that I talk about here are about my book, my two books, The Mind-Body Code, The Mind-Body Self. And the first was a psychological novel, which is the one that I had the most fun writing. It's good science, but it's something like the Da Vinci Code with real good science about relationships, longevity. It's called The Man from Autumn. Utah, Michigan, all over the place. Wonderful. Philadelphia, Philly, PA, wonderful. So if you just join House Shrink, talking about archetypal wounds, you should start, what book should you start? Start with the Mind-Body Code first. And then if you like it, go to the Mind-Body Self, which I'm sure you will. How do you pull yourself away from a person you're deeply in love with, knowing they're a narcissist? You're not in love with them, you're in need with them. You don't abuse what you love, you abuse what you need. You have a need, that's not love. Love is not to go somewhere else somebody abuses you, that's need. And what you're having to do is you have to look for what's missing within you. Is it the belongingness? Is it the sense of joy? Is it the companionship? And find out, and you're going to find that you're not giving that to yourself. So it's very important. You never love somebody who hurts you. You start needing them. Or you can love from a distance. AKA, let's say you have a mother who's very toxic. Well, you don't want to give her up, but you love her at a distance. You see her once a year, whatever. Because you're the only one who can take care of yourself. Nobody can take care of you. You are the captain of your ship, the owner of your temple. So you have to take care of yourself, and nobody can do it for you. Remember, nobody can be born for you, nobody can die for you, and nobody can feel your pain. When people say, "I feel your pain," no, they don't. Know what the hell you're feeling. They can empathize, but they don't feel what you're feeling. So, the late comers here. This is House Shrink talking about archetypal wounds, the 3 ways that societies and cultures can hurt you: abandonment, shame, and betrayal. And they each have a hologram, an extension of self that goes out, and we begin to act as if it's actually happening again when something appears to be similar to it. Sometimes it's real, but sometimes it's just something that the conditions are right, and it just triggers that whole thing, and you feel that you're actually being abandoned. So I get lonely. That's why I keep going back. Yeah, but for example, you're going back. You're lonely. You're going back to get some poison. So you're not. You're lonely. Here's what you need to do. If you're lonely being alone, like my good friend who's 91 says, you're not in good company. And what do? You create a relationship with yourself. So let me talk about that, because this happens a lot here. In relationships, you have joy, you have belongingness, and you have companionship, right? Okay. And when it's over, you say, well, that's it. I lost my joy. I certainly don't belong there anymore, and I certainly don't have a companionship. But let me tell you how wrong that is. Joy is an internal process of quietude that you find within yourself, and you find that serenity to bring out the best things in you and all of that. But joy cannot be given to you. You take it wherever you go. Okay, belongingness. Belongingness has to do with you having permission to be where you are. Wherever you are, alone or someone else. When you go into a relationship, you think that you're belonging, and you belong in that relationship, but you're bringing permission to be there with yourself and the other person permission to be there. When it's over, you bring your permission back and you give yourself permission to be where you are. And companionship, you might say, if I lost my companionship, who am I going to have a companionship with? With yourself. You have to learn to have a companionship with yourself before you can have it with someone else. If you're not at peace with yourself, you're going to get needy, and you're going to get into a relationship that's not going to work, because you're going to drain that person. Or you're going to go to a narcissist who loves to have you so they can beat you up emotionally. Stand up and love yourself. Yes, but it requires work. And this is why I'm saying read my books, because it's not just intellectual. If we were intellectual, I'd say, okay, start loving yourself. It doesn't work that way. There's a lot more than that. And it requires mind-body techniques and methods. Have tried to stay busy, but doesn't help. No, staying busy doesn't do anything. Being self-caring is what's required. So what would you do with someone else? Do it with yourself. If you wanted to have a nice dinner with someone else, make a nice dinner for yourself. Go out to dinner with yourself. But remember, society is set up where the individual is not as valuable as a group. You go to a restaurant by yourself and they'll say, just one? And when they say just one, when I go, I say, the hell do you want? How many do you need? Oh, no, no problem. Are you expecting a problem? See, it's all set up that way. Or they try to put you by the bar or give you a bad table. No, insist. I want a good table. I'm coming here by myself. And then take yourself out to dinner. You'll be a little uncomfortable at first, but then you begin to know that you're worthy of that nice meal. And when you feel guilty or whatever, you take a deep breath and say, okay, now this food is outstanding. The wine is great, or whatever you're drinking, tea. It's a cultivation of an emotion, a mind-body process. Once you have a good relationship with yourself, then you can go out and have it with someone else. And by the way, when you have a good relationship with yourself, you're not going to hang out with a narcissist, because you'll see them right through. You'll see the drain coming in, because you have a relationship with yourself. If you're needy, the narcissist is like a magnet. They bring you in and you feel wonderful because they give you whatever you want to hear, till you get dependent and they start hitting on you, and they criticize this and they criticize that, and you can never find anything on. I won't go out anywhere on my own. My confidence is gone. Well, how are you going to build your confidence? I want to learn how to ride a bike, but I'm not practicing learning how to ride a bike. It's a catch-22. It requires doing slowly. But instead of going out, maybe start having dinners with yourself. Maybe invite a friend over for dinner. And then gradually go out and find out what feels uncomfortable. And you're going to find that it's one of the archetypal wounds that makes you feel unworthy of being by yourself. So it's very important to see that. I enjoy my own company. I cherish being alone. 3 narcissists in my life. Okay, good. So you've had enough, right? How do you heal the need to run away? You have to find out what you're running away from. What are you running away from? What are you afraid of? First have to find out. Running away, you may be running away from something that you need to run away from. Or maybe not. So find out what it is. How do we forgive ourselves for the past? By learning from what you did. And I have a whole chapter in my book on forgiveness, on the mind-body code. Look it up and get it. Forgiveness is not an intellectual act. It's a liberating act of self-love. You're letting yourself go of that ghost that you're keeping inside. Is comfort in being by oneself and isolating in the long run? Well, everything is balance. You don't want to be in a cave by yourself, but you also don't want to be socializing every day. You find a balance. You find the benign balance, what the Buddhists call the middle way, what Aristotle called the mean. Yeah, you have for work. You have to work forgiveness on yourself too. But there's a technique that I teach in the book that is really powerful that I've used with hundreds and hundreds of people that have consulted with me and so forth. Writing is a great tool. It is. You can use bibliotherapy, and you can write about everything you're feeling. For example, now that you brought this up, bibliotherapy, the technique that you can do. Let's say that you really dislike someone. Okay, write a whole paragraph, a page, 2 pages of what you dislike about that person. This person is such and such, and on and on and on, until you begin to see that it's draining out of you. Once you're done with it, read it over to see if there's anything that you want to add to it. Oh, I forgot that this guy's an asshole, and I forgot to call him. Okay, you write it down. Once you're done, you tear it up or you burn it, and you're done with it. Take a deep breath, go into a meditative state, and let it go. So what I'm trying to stay away from here is religion and politics. I'm not going to talk about religion or politics because that's not what I'm talking about here. I'm talking about psychological processes, and I'm talking about how to help you make a good life. If you're religious, that's wonderful. If you're political, that's wonderful, but not here. We need more people with good intent for others. That's true. And I think that what's happening with TikTok, like anything else, it's a media, right? And that media could go there and watch somebody shake their ass or to get some good information. In fact, I have written to some of these people who are doing the shaking and all that and told them, hey, look, why don't you read my book? Why don't you come and look at beauty as a responsibility? That if you're beautiful, attract people and have something to say that has meaning. Not some music behind about rape and male genitals and all that. That's just, no, if some people want that, that's fine. If you want to be a voyeurist and just watch, fine. But if you want to get something out of life, then bring meaning. Use beauty as a responsibility to share something meaningful with other people. That's what matters. Social media needs more people like you. You're absolutely right. And the way to do it, let everybody know what I'm doing here so I can share it with you. I'm not getting paid for this. I do wear Hollisters because I love them. That's my trademark here. But Hollister doesn't pay me anything for doing it. Just that I like the product. Just like I promote Apple because I love Apple. Apple's computers, of course. You're a healthy influence. Thank you. I'm glad to hear that. How do you start your your morning? No, I don't have coffee. My mornings, I don't take anything. Sometimes I'll drink some hot water, which is really good, with a little lime. And then I make my bed. Very important to make your bed because you've been sleeping and there's disorder, and get order. You make your bed. And after you make your bed, then I do a meditation. Why? Because I don't want to dump my dreams into the day. Before I go to sleep, I do a meditation so I don't jump and dump the day into the dream. I do that. Then I just go and do some work. I do mentoring and I write, and then I go work out. So that's what I do. Ego can only take people so far. Yeah, it gets old because the ego is necessary. The ego is necessary for social systems, but you don't want to be a slave of your ego. You want ego to work for yourself, for the higher self, not for the ego. Egos are social systems that are necessary, but not to give you any kind of depth. Exercise, I need to go back into it. Rather than need is, I would love to go back into it. Because if you say, I need to go back, oh, I don't know. By the way, you don't have to like working out. When you go to the gym and say, oh, I'm so excited. I am now because I do exactly what I want to do. Tips on the decluttering possessions. Okay, decluttering, when you're hoarding, in psychology, hoarding is because you're holding on to things because you have a difficult time letting go. You say, oh, let me keep this magazine and I'm going to read it sometime. Let me keep this shirt. There's nothing better than going to Goodwill and just giving people that need it things that you don't use anymore. It has a powerful effect. You're going to feel a little bit of anxiety, but then after that, you're going to feel really good, and you let go. And when you let go, new things come in, not from the universe, nothing the universe. They come in because you're open to new things. Hoarding allows you to close in. Giving, generosity opens up. So try it. I would love to go back into it, then go ahead and do it. Don't kill yourself the first day because you're not going to go back. Do it slowly and do the kind of exercises that you enjoy. For example, I used to run, and then fortunately I hurt my ankle, sprained my ankle, which is great because it saved me from having knee surgery 20 years later. So now I do power walks and work out. Power walks are just as good and better actually for the cardiovascular than running. Running puts tremendous pressure on your knees, and it doesn't help you as much. So I think that that working out weights with power walks is just wonderful. What state are you in? I'm in Tennessee. Running is great for cardio, but bad for the knees. That's right. But actually, power walks are great for cardio and great for the knees. So it's very important. Walking helps PTSD. Yeah. Any kind of physical activity helps PTSD and anything else. The most powerful thing you can do is to work out. How do you stop suffering from guilt and regret? By doing something about it. You bring it in. You feel guilty about doing something, and embody it. Okay, I feel guilty because I did this and this and this. Okay, now you breathe. Okay, now what am I going to do about it? How did this help me become a better person today? And how am I going to be a better person for the next week? Then guilt becomes an impetus for you to become a better person. It's no longer your demon. It becomes your agent of change. So that's how you deal with it. Any questions? Let's see, we have a little bit more time, about another 5-10 minutes. So if you just joined, make sure that the first thing you do is to follow my work here, and tomorrow this video, without the interruptions from the police, hopefully it'll be up, and then you'll be able to see it on my YouTube channel, Dr. Mario Martinez. I can become a better person in solitude. Well, yeah, you start with solitude and then you make connections. My brain doesn't compute math. Who told you that you're not good with math? Go back and you were told that you were not good with math. Prove to yourself that you're good with math. You don't have to be a genius, but you can get along with math. How often do you go live? I'm trying to go almost every day, so I hope that you let other people know about it, and that you follow my work, because I wanted to get to 10,000 very quickly. That way I have more access and all kinds of things available to you. Thank you. Have a great day. Thank you for being here. Bueno kindness. Thank you. So anyway, we're getting close to ending. So those of you who have not followed yet, go ahead and follow. And also go to my YouTube channel. I've had my YouTube channel over more than 500,000 people have visited already. So there's a lot of information there, a lot free. Then also, if you're interested, my book, in my page here, on my page here on TikTok, there's a link to my website, which tells you the books and everything. There's also a Q&A. If you missed any question that you want some answers, go to the Q&A, and then it's really very cool, because you ask a question and then I'll do a 15-second video to answer your question. So it's really nice. So anyway, we're getting close to the end. Any other questions specifically to archetypal wounds and the hologram? If you could give 3 life advices, read my 3 books. Hello, a lot of advice there. My 3 books, that's the best advice. Otherwise, I'd be giving you superficial things. Be kind, be good, read my books. That's 3 books, so there's 3 advice right there. So, thank you very much. Somebody says you're awesome, Monique, thank you. Oh, and somebody followed, Deb. Please follow. Before you leave, follow. It's very important that you follow, because it expands the audience, but also it lets you know when I'm going to be on. And if you miss me being on, then the next day you go to my YouTube channel, Dr. Mario Martinez, and it'll all be there. I have pretty close to 200 videos now. They're all there. They even some in Spanish, so there's no excuse. Relationships, psychoneuroimmunology, longevity, all kinds of things, self-esteem. So there's all kinds of free information over there. So I hope you go there and you enjoy it. And it's been really wonderful talking to you. You're really a great audience. This is really wonderful that you're here. So, all the people are following now. Somebody says he does art also, and it's nice. Yeah, I do also realistic art. That's some of my art behind there. And I'm doing now some videos on my art and explaining the psychology of it. So it'll be fun for you to go back there. And on my website, there's a gallery there, and they're limited prints and the original works are available. So check it out. But the first thing to do is that I want you to follow. Hi, just come across you. What do I do? I'm a clinical psychologist. I'm called the House Shrink here on TikTok. And I just work and give people information about my books, my work, relationships. Today was about archetypal wounds, about how cultures and people that were important to you can hurt you by either abandoning you, about shaming you, or betraying you, and there are antidotes for each of them. So that's all in the book, and you'll be able to see this video completely tomorrow on YouTube under Dr. Mario Martinez. Okay, so thank you very much for joining, and it's great to have you here, and I'm glad that hopefully I was able to answer some questions. But remember, the Q&A, you can go there and ask legitimate questions. If they're not legitimate, they're going to be deleted, but legitimate questions, respect yourself. And when you respect yourself, you'll be able to respect other people. Okay, so no ghosting, no problem, and no like this, like that, like I love him, like this. No like, no parallel universe. I want this. It's not like I want this. And when somebody says thank you, no problem, you're avoiding a problem. Thank you, you're welcome. That's it. Those are little things that you're learning here. Have a good day, Mario. Thank you so much, and enjoy. And thank you for wishing me a great afternoon. Enjoy, and make sure that you follow. When you leave here, follow. And then tomorrow, go to my YouTube channel and also follow, which is Dr. Mario Martinez. All right, enjoy. And I appreciate all the wonderful compliments that I've heard here. And all of you are brilliant, beautiful, and wonderful. And don't deny it. Enjoy. See you soon.